They broke the law on the outside. And now, behind bars, they're doing it again. Breaking the rules and fighting the system.
Looking for major contraband at Shanks? Any drugs?
No, we think we're good right now.
For 1 year, National Geographic followed the lives of inmates and officers in the state of Ohio. It's a system bent on making inmates better, filled with convicted felons who might be getting worse.
Get out of my face.
This is a year of hard time. "9 a.m., and already today, the Ross Correctional Institution is on high alert. An officer is down in Unit 4A, punched in the face by an inmate, knocked out, left cold on the floor. Officers race to the scene. And now the attacker, an old-school inmate named Buster Johnson, is headed to the hole to await his fate.
With your arms, with that piece, turn around, spread your butt, left foot, right foot, spread your butt, shoot, squat.
But back at the scene of the crime, the inmates have already rendered a verdict.
He put his hands on that man. That man, did what he had to do.
I ain't gonna say he had to do it, but it was justified.
They think they tough because they wear gray shirts, they better than us or something. They ain't better than us. They beat out of them.
Attacking an officer is something many inmates talk about, but rarely act on. Lashing out means breaking a cardinal rule of doing time. Never touch staff members, and the punishment is severe. Behind bars, the line between control and chaos is held in check by the rules. But to some, rules are made to be broken, and it's the job of the system to catch the offenders and dole out the punishment. Ross Correctional Institution houses 2,600 inmates of all kinds. A potent mix of newcomers and old-timers, low-security inmates to threatening gangs, all watching each other and being watched. It's razor wire and concrete block, a fenced-in city of felons. Felons that earned a prison sentence for breaking the law. Felons that are doing hard time. And while most accept their fate, some continue to fight the system and each other.
Quit f***ing over-talking me, dude. On some real
They gonna treat you like shark food if you don't fight for your
I gotta do what I gotta do, man. 'Cause I ain't going home in no casket.
When pop off, when there's tension in the pod or in the yard, everybody gets where they need to be.
So when it's time to rumble, it's time to rumble.
You wanna do it for real? You wanna do it for real?
These are the rule breakers. Confrontational, relentless, defiant.
Just because these guys were incarcerated for being a criminal in the street, it doesn't stop when it gets in here. They're constantly working on being a criminal. These guys have 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year to outsmart us, to outwit us, to get over on us.
Some people rob cells. Some people sell dope. Some people sell pills.
You got guys that run tickets. You got guys that run stores, make needles, make ink, shoot tattoos.
Some of these dudes, they might as well be dead. And dudes like that, they just run around stealing, trying to run game on other people, you know what I'm saying? They do all kind of It's the only way to survive.
The COs, lieutenants and all, the warden, man. So he don't give a about me and I don't give a about him, man.
You got something over your white shirt? Take it off. I want to see your T-shirt. Turn around.
The rule breakers are the biggest challenge to the system. The loud minority, under constant watch.
These guys are dangerous, and it's our job to keep a thumb on them, keep some control of them, know what they're doing, try to predict what they're going to do next.
These guys are always looking for an edge, that weak link. It's a cat and a mouse game because it's my job to follow the rules, and a lot of inmates will tell you it's their job to break them.
At Ross, the challenges come daily, and problems can flare up at any moment. Then, it's time to respond. This afternoon, emergency workers have been called to Unit 4A on the heels of a vicious fight. Weapons were involved, and the assailant is already in custody.
Put it on there. I'll make sure you're all sleeping.
It's not the first time this inmate has been involved in an attack, and given his history, it probably won't be his last.
The path of the lone wolf is a hard one to walk, right? Believe me, I've been walking that one most of my life.
Nathaniel Blacker has always chosen to live by his own rules and lead a life of crime that makes him a regular in prison.
I've always been the bad influence. I'm the one that your parents have always warned you about. My parents didn't want to have anything to do with it. I turned 18 and like, yeah, well, don't come around, right, type of deal. So I really never had no kind of chance there. I was stuck out on my own. What am I supposed to do? You know what I mean? I have to eat, survive.
Blacker's in on a 7-year sentence for aggravated robbery. In 2004, armed with a butcher's knife, he robbed a carryout store in broad daylight. Blacker threatened the clerk and fled the scene with a bag full of cash. He broke the rules of society, and behind bars, little has changed.
What's this all over, man?
Tell me.
I don't know, I'm asking you.
I mean, if you tell me, I'm asking you. I mean, I don't know either.
Exactly what you're doing. You want me to treat you like a man, I'll treat you like a man. You want to act like a convict, I'll treat you like a convict. You understand that?
Well, there it is then.
All right, there it is.
The only thing I've learned how to do in here was become a heartless piece of for real. You know what I mean? I stand out from the crowd. I mean, you're not your typical prisoner. I'm me. I'm a one-man army, a one-man wrecking crew.
Blacker may live by his own set of rules, but now he has to face the consequences for his actions. There were more than 1,200 inmate assaults last year in the prisons of Ohio. Those are the incidents that get reported. Many inmate fights take place out of sight, in back rooms or behind the cell door.
What happens is, they go in there, they fight, get it over with, come out like nothing happened, you know what I mean? If somebody gets beat up really bad, then he'll get cleaned up first, then he'll come out, he'll go to his cell, and he'll lay low until he heal up. That's just how it works.
When it comes to attacks on officers, though, inmates have nowhere to hide. There were over 900 incidents against staff in Ohio prisons last year. And while most of them were minor, every assault is handled swiftly. Something Buster Johnson has come to understand. He's entering his 5th day in segregation after striking an officer and knocking him out.
This incident just happened so quick, man, what's supposed to happen, you know what I'm saying? It was just a spare moment thing. My mind just flipped.
Buster Johnson has had sudden bursts of violence in the past. He shot a man in 1992 and served 5 years. While out on parole, Johnson stormed into a crowded bar after his cousin had an altercation with another man. He pumped 3 .22 caliber rounds into the body of the victim, was arrested, and sentenced to 28 years for attempted murder. All over in a split second. A choice that cost Buster Johnson his life in the free world. And a cycle that Johnson has just repeated.
The white shirt was doing a routine search. We get searched every day, really.
We had an iron stolen. It's a pot iron that the inmates use to iron their clothes. So we're shaking down cells looking for the iron.
He was going to our belongings to see, you know, what was stolen and whatnot. You know, I had all my receipts.
You know, I'm noticing other things, looking for other contraband at the time. Well, I was in about the 3rd cell, which is inmate Johnson's cell, and I start looking at his TV, which had numbers scratched out of it. And so I'm asking him about the TV to see if it's a stolen TV or what the deal was. He becomes kind of irate and argumentative, so I ask him to step out of the cell. He wants to keep arguing. I say it again with a louder voice. I say, step out of the cell. He acts like he's going to comply, and he says, okay then, and looks down and starts to go out of the cell.
So when he did that, I turned around and I fired on him, you know what I'm saying? He dropped to the ground, and, you know, I looked at him. I didn't realize how hard I hit him. I see blood screaming out his nose, mouth, and I was like, wow, you know? I just turned around and threw a lazy right, and he went to sleep.
I never had any problems out of inmate Johnson before that happened. It's almost like I didn't know inmate Johnson, even though he was there.
Johnson snapped again, and now faces the possibility of criminal charges for assaulting an officer, and with them, more time. The visitation room at the Ross Correctional Institution. The front line between hard time and freedom. There are more than 20,000 visits a year. One of the few places where inmates can hear the sound of children, laugh, talk, smile. And while most come here for the touch of a loved one's hand, some use this direct contact with the outside world as an opportunity. So on the other side of the wall, every motion is being watched, every gesture scrutinized.
You never know when it's going to happen. You just have to be ready. I've seen heroin crack, marijuana, pills about any kind, Oxycontins, Xanaxes. I've seen it come out of babies' diapers. I've seen it come out of grandma's bra. They do it, and I fetch it. Try to.
Visitation requires constant vigilance, a watchful eye for rule breakers. And today, that effort has paid off. What seemed like a standard visit between an inmate and his girlfriend is a cover for something else. In the bag, balloons filled with drugs, balloons this inmate is eating.
You could not see one balloon. He sandwiched them between two Doritos and act like he was just eating those Doritos. He was pretty slick, really. It was just a hunch that that's what was going on. I sent an officer over to check the bag, and there was balloons in the bag. Normally, when you see balloons, you got to assume that there's more than what you found.
For her part, the girlfriend is detained and faces potential drug charges. The inmate, Justin Davis, is under an arrest of sorts as well, held in a special wing of the prison. Since Davis swallowed most of the evidence, the prison is now waiting for it to come out. It's called defecation watch.
The inmate is brought over here, he's strip searched, he's put in a room by himself, the water is turned off, there is a stainless steel pan put over the commode, an officer is assigned to watch him 24/7.
The defecation watch, lights, they on 24 hours. I never leave this room. They don't give me no toothbrush. I can't take a shower, none of that, you feel me? Since he found them 3 balloons, he figured that I swallowed some more. So since that, you gotta wait the process of it going through your system so you get them out.
Once he has to have a bowel movement, the officer will watch him. If he passes something, the supervisor is notified. We come over and we go through the feces looking for the drugs.
It's an unpleasant but mandatory waiting game, and the latest chapter in a continuing life of crime.
Whatever was popping, that's what I was selling. From crack to powder to X pills to weed.
On the street, Justin Davis was a hustler and has a rap sheet that includes convictions for robbery and drug possession. In 2008, while Davis was out on parole, he was found with an automatic weapon, equipped with a silencer. Davis was sentenced to a total of 6 years. This is the second time Davis has been caught with drugs in just 9 months. A sign that the hustler is determined to continue the activities he learned on the street behind bars.
You in prison to where anything could be your hustle, you feel me? Because only thing people want is something that reminds them of the street or something that they can't get in here.
Money in here is a bag of coffee. It goes for around $3. There's nothing free in the penitentiary, not one thing. These guys that's making the money pay to get their clothes on for their visits. They pay someone to clean their tennis shoes, to do their laundry, do their dishes.
But small-time hustles have a limited rate of return. The real profits lie in the black market, in contraband and drugs.
I don't take pride in what I do, I just take pride in who I am. Especially when it comes to business, I'm an excellent business person. Supply and demand, you feel me? In prison, that's how it is, you supply and demand. For something that I would have paid $50 for on the street, you feel me? And probably only made like $70 to $100 off of, I can bring it in here and make anywhere from $3,500 to $4,500 off of it. Who wouldn't? You don't think that's worth the risk?
Stopping the flow of drugs and contraband is a constant challenge at Ross. A daily effort to disrupt the illegal trade. One that builds as the system takes a hard line. Builds to full-scale shakedowns by the SRT, the Prison Special Force.
All right, gentlemen, we're gonna do a modified clear out. Mendoza is gonna take 1A, looking for major contraband at Shanks. Any drugs? Inmates gonna be strip searched at the door. She will go in, shake down. You're done, put them back in the cell. Move on to the next cell. Put your hands in nothing you can't see. Be safe.
You look like a hoe. What the hell? What the? Oh, word. Walk.
Shakedowns of this size are rare, meant to make a point. Break the rules, and you'll be dealt with.
When we're coming in the door, that was the area that the inmates were yelling from.
Going to that corner first. We need some gloves.
So we wanted to send a message right off the bat that we're not playing today. This is real.
Speed is of the essence. Although the inmates are on lockdown, contraband can still be hidden, be flushed down the toilet, or thrown out the window.
We pass up.
Every cell is tossed, every bed stripped, every potential hiding place is probed. It's not long before the search yields results.
He said the Bible's his, but the stuff that's in it's not.
Then both of them stay right there on that wall behind your back.
A hidden package is recovered. Inside, a white powder, suspected to be cocaine.
He's going to stay in there with him. The potential narcotics, we found it in, of all places, a Bible. Yeah.
The drugs are just the beginning. Homemade alcohol and tattoo equipment are also found in the raid.
That's numbers.
The pressure forcing inmates to come clean.
Hey, I'm going to take off your gun.
This is yours?
Yes, sir.
The guilty inmates placed under prison arrest.
We think we're good right now.
Shakedowns send a swift and clear message. Rule breakers will be punished. And the guilty may face hold time and even more charges. But contraband keeps flowing. Inmates keep breaking the rules. And the system keeps fighting back. The time that passes at the Ross Correctional Institution is marked by routine. Lights up at 6 a.m. Lockdown 10:45. First count. Rec yard. Workout. Keep moving. Time for chow. Keep moving. 2 more counts. And lights out. This routine changes, though, for those who break the rules.
Stand there and wait on me.
Nathaniel Blacker is in the hole after assaulting an inmate. Another strike on his growing record.
In here, I'm forced to be around people that I don't want to be around. Sometimes that entails me stabbing somebody or, beating someone with a pipe or something like that. I mean, I'm not a big guy, you know what I mean? So it entails that I'm going to always seem to have some problems, right, with these clowns right in here. So I got to make an example.
Tell that will kill his ass whenever he gets down to Lucasville.
Let's put it this way. I'd rather be out there eating grasshoppers out in the woods, right, than living here.
That old ass dude up there, check-in ass, tried to sell off all my yeah. So needless to say, he's got that coming.
It's another world in here, I guess you could say, right?
Blacker has 2 days until his trial for the fight, and the punishment could be severe. The self-proclaimed lone wolf is accused of weapons possession, something that could get him additional time in the hole.
I mean, you're either going to defend yourself in here, man, or you're not. When someone steps up to the battlefield, man, I have no choice but to take it to the next level.
While violent inmates like Blacker are an obvious challenge to the system, some rule breakers present problems of an entirely different sort.
So this is the correct venue. There is no motion to dismiss anymore.
Nationwide, there were over 16,000 lawsuits filed by inmates last year. Many are appealing their conviction or complaining about conditions inside. 90% of these lawsuits are prepared by inmates. Inmates like Ronald Dudas.
Jailhouse lawyering has been around since they opened the first institution. Somebody has to help somebody. I know we just filed a bunch of motions a couple weeks ago. Have you heard anything on those?
Although he isn't a real lawyer, Dudas acts as counselor to the convicted,
Gentlemen, that we just did.
public defender to the incarcerated.
Motions for relief from judgment pursuant to Civil Rule 60B. Everybody in here is innocent. Everybody in here has a story. But as you talk to people, they're not all telling you that they're innocent, but what they're telling you, there's flaws. My background's in finance. My crime is considered a white-collar crime.
54-year-old Ronald Dudas came into the system on a 17-month sentence for theft, telecommunications fraud, and forgery. All part of a mortgage scam. Dudas stole in excess of $1 million from low-income homeowners and then confiscated their property.
They said that I have a sociopath that was motivated by money, that if it's not my way, it's no way. And I ran a company that was strictly set up for predatory lending practices.
Dudas may have started out as a white-collar criminal, but after his arrest, he turned a corner, moved toward violence.
Prosecutors say Ronald Dudas asked a cellmate at the Cuyahoga County Jail to arrange the hits.
Dudas orchestrated a plan to murder the presiding judge in his case and talked about it on the jail's tapped phone line.
What I do want to do is pay some to go take care of all these people. I'm talking about I'm going to call the friends of mine that wear black suits and get this done.
Ron. Shut up. Do you understand?
No, I won't.
Dudas was hit with a 135-count indictment and a 30-year sentence.
Let's see what we got going on here. Sunday, we never made.
Now inside, Dudas has a vast list of clients. He helps gang members fight their cases and prepares legal briefs for groups in the system, like the Christian Separatist Church.
He's good at the law. I mean, he knows what he's talking about. You know, I'm mostly into the Bible, and he's the legal beagle.
Nationally, the church has been labeled as a hate group. Its leaders here are serving long sentences for violent crimes. They are, like all of Dudas's clients, a reminder of his new reality.
Meanwhile, this guy's going to sit here and rot in prison. I used to walk into a bar when I was younger, and I used to look around and go, okay, I'm the toughest guy in here. I don't have nothing to worry about. When I came to prison and I looked around, I said, I have a lot of issues. I did things in my life that I think now I'm paying for. I think the things that I did get away with, it came around.
While Dudas may be learning to navigate a new world, his choices have him breaking the rules again.
We have this.
Ronald Dudas's way of jailhouse lawyering is an illegal hustle behind bars.
I'll write this up for you to help you out, and then you just put it in your handwriting.
And in prison, it's only a matter of time before the rule breakers get punished. The Ross Correctional Institution in southern Ohio sits on 1,700 acres. For inmates locked inside the compound, the peaceful farmland they see outside the gates is a bitter reminder of their sentence.
I think the loss of freedom, more than anything else, is the thing that you miss the most. I don't miss the money. I don't miss the new cars, the maid service. I don't miss any of that. I don't miss the big houses, the vacations. I miss doing what I want to do.
Now Ronald Dudas will be doing even less. A routine search of his room turned up a stash of contraband.
They're holding me under investigation for legal work that they say they found in my cell. Apparently, you're not allowed to have somebody else's paperwork on your persons or in your cell or in your possession.
It's a hard and fast rule of the institution. Inmate property, whether it's food, clothing, or letters, is private.
All right, hold on just a minute. All right, strip down, throw everything out here real quick. Arms up, behind each ear real quick. Big up, turn back around. Spoil spray belt.
For breaking the rules, Dudas is headed to the hole, then to prison court to face his charges. And in the next few days, the jailhouse lawyer will stand in his own defense.
Rami, what's up? You want to tell me the rules so I know what not, what to?
Be quiet.
I got you on that one. Home sweet home.
In In inmate health services, security control officers are still keeping watch over Justin Davis. He was caught swallowing balloons filled with marijuana in visitation. So for the past 36 hours, he's been on defecation watch, passing over evidence to the prison.
They recovered 4 off of him. The next day they got 2, and then a couple hours later they got 1. Another lieutenant the other day got 10 off of him. I think so far a total of 21 balloons has been recovered. Hey, Davis, put all your stuff in here. Your bed linen also. Leave the cups.
Today, the vigil comes to an end. A little under half an ounce of pot recovered. It's time for Davis to head to the hole.
Isolation door. He's all yours. He's going down 112. I don't know how long you'll be here. That's between you and Baker, the investigator. How much time you got left? Okay. Probably expect more.
Davis took the risk, broke the rules, and will sit in isolation for months. He faces further restrictions if he goes to Max. The kind of hard time that awaits Justin Davis is having an impact on Buster Johnson. He's entering his 6th week in segregation for assaulting an officer. One of the most serious crimes in prison. Johnson has been locked down 23 hours a day.
It's like being in hell. You see most guys by the door trying to get under that door, smell the air, get in between that crack so you can smell the crack because the air ain't got no window, so you can let air out there, you know what I mean?
Today, Johnson is getting some air, but not a break. He's headed to a security classification review.
How you doing, Johnson?
The hearing that could result in being sent to a tougher prison, to maximum security.
On your security review, the findings of the Rule Infraction Board, you scored 2 points because within the last year you were found guilty. You do have 3 points based on the fact that the warden approved your placement in LC. That's 3 points against you.
Since you have demonstrated a physically assaultive and or predatory behavior resulting in physical harm to any person, and the nature of your behavior presents a threat to the overall security and orderly operation of the institution. Those are the behavior categories that you fall in with for us.
Johnson's fate is all but sealed. He'll ride out to a max prison, where his actions will determine whether or not he'll return to a place like Ross.
Thank you.
We're finished with Johnson.
The system has reeled in the rule breakers, and now it is dealing with them. All that remains are the trials, the verdicts, and the punishments. In the segregation unit at Ross Correctional Institution, Ronald Dudas is biding his time, awaiting his trial on charges of possession of another inmate's legal papers.
I don't have Social Security. I've never been issued.
But even locked in the hole, Dudas is continuing his legal work and found a new client, Nathaniel Blacker.
You're basically saying that the Court of Common Pleas lacks complete subject matter jurisdiction over you, the individual.
No, over me, the human being.
Over you, the human being.
The lone wolf has landed with the jailhouse lawyer, and Blacker is sharing his strategy for defending himself in today's prison trial. A defense that goes well beyond the charges for fighting.
What he is arguing is basically, in layman's terms, I'm not a sovereign state. I didn't sign the Declaration of Independence. I can't be held liable for crimes that were given to a guy with a Social Security number because I never authorized all those numbers. They were given to me by an entity from the state. So the statutory was something that was created
right here.
And voted on.
No. It was just somebody drew this up.
Probably the most extreme extremist I've ever met in prison.
This court derives jurisdiction from the Ohio.
I believe he believes that he's going to win, and he's 100% correct at everything he's doing.
Nathaniel Blacker is making his 9th trip to the Rules Infraction Board, the prison court. He's a regular and faces time in the hole for assaulting another inmate. Cooperation, though, could make the hearing go more smoothly.
All right, let's see here. Inmate Blacker, can you give me your full name and number for the record, please?
I don't have a number, ma'am. I mean, I've never been issued one.
But right from the start, Blacker makes his stance clear.
What's your name?
My name is Nathaniel Collins, and I'm of the Blacker family.
Do you wish to enter a plea on the Rule 36, possession of a weapon?
The court has no jurisdiction. J-U-R-I-S.
I got it. We know how to spell. It's okay.
I don't follow orders. At least not that well. I was involved in an altercation.
And the argument was over, or the disagreement was over?
He had something in the cell that I didn't believe that he should have had in the cell.
Okay. What did he have in the cell?
I'm not at liberty to say.
Okay, all right. You're gonna stand in front of that wall, facing the wall. I'm gonna call Sergeant Spencer in. You're not allowed to speak directly to him. Any questions you have for him, you relay to me. I will relay them to him if I feel that they are appropriate questions. Okay.
Inmate Black or inmate Orris were upstairs in the top range fighting. We ran up to the top range, so at that time I pat searched him and found in his right front pocket a metal shank.
Based on what you saw of this item that came out of his pocket, do you consider it to be a weapon?
I consider it to be a deadly weapon.
Okay, thank you.
They're trying to say I had a knife, right?
Any other questions?
If I'd have had a knife, believe me, I'd have killed that dude. I'd have stabbed him.
Would you like to make a statement?
Well, I mean, I don't understand what he's talking about. He removed a knife from my pocket. I mean, we live by different codes of law than what people in society do, I guess. If I get attacked or something, what am I supposed to do?
Inmate Blacker, is there anything else you want to add?
There was nothing that was done to investigate this. This guy removed this thing from my pocket or whatever. Says that it's a deadly weapon. However, he's not competent to testify to that.
Okay.
All right. He's not.
Right.
Is he a forensic pathologist or something?
Okay. All right. So what your claim is that he did not take this out of your pocket?
Well, I mean,
Is
he
that your claim?
may have taken something out of my pocket, but it wasn't a weapon.
All right. So what was it?
I have no idea.
Then how do you know he took something out of your pocket?
The thing that he took out of my pocket was the thing that I snagged from the damn celly that I had, right? It was nothing that you could harm anyone with. I just didn't want him to have it in the cell.
Okay, so you're saying that you took it away from
That's what we were
your cell.
fighting about.
Well, why didn't you just tell me that? Instead of making me go through this whole little circle, why didn't you just tell me that? That was the simplest thing to do instead of making this a circus.
Blacker's defense falls apart, and the verdict is easy: guilty. It's another 15 days in the hole, another mark on the record of an inmate that continues to buck the system.
I don't like their system. I don't believe that it's fair. I don't believe that it's just. At the end of the world, it's you. I strive for greatness, you know what I mean? Who was it? Robert E. Lee said something about, sometimes you have to act contrary to what, the common mold is.
In the segregation unit at Ross Correctional Institution, Judgment Day has come for Ronald Dudas. He's up on charges of possession, not of drugs or a weapon. He had another inmate's case files in his lockbox, and the jailhouse lawyer is preparing his defense.
I just got to try to find a way to convince the people at the IB board that this wasn't done with intent. There's the thing that they give you here. It's a manual. It's called an inmate handbook. In this inmate handbook, it has basically what you can and can't do.
Here's your handbook.
The book is the penal code for the prison. Rules of conduct, institutional policies, procedures for grievances, all spelled out, and something every inmate should know, especially a self-proclaimed advocate like Dudas.
Will I fight to the limit on everything? Absolutely. Because I don't believe I did anything wrong. I believe everything I did was by their handbook, and I have their handbook here that I'll take in with me to prove it.
Inmate Dudas, you appear before the Rules Infraction Board today charged with Rule 21, disobedience of a direct order, a Rule 48, stealing or embezzlement of property, a Rule 50, possession of the property of another, a Rule 49, 51, 60, 54, 55. This is your opportunity just to explain what happened. Just tell me what happened.
The easiest thing to say, ma'am, is, if I may be so bold, I go to law library. I think everybody in the institution knows I'm always up there, and I do help inmates.
Okay, do you have authorization to do so?
Yes, ma'am. Miss Security does allow me up there to do
Okay,
that.
do you have written authorization from the warden?
No, ma'am.
Okay, all right.
I need to have that?
Yes, yes.
It's the most basic oversight, a lethal blow to his defense.
I would say the first 30 seconds, I thought I was F. Lee Bailey ready to go to town. Once she said, you failed to do this, anything that I would argue past that point would be ludicrous on my part because there was no way I was going to win.
I need you to
I know exactly.
research to find out what the proper procedures for assisting other inmates with their legal work.
This will never happen
Because
again.
you are not permitted to have or possess any other inmate's legal work unless it relates to your case. You can't do that, okay? Because you are not a lawyer and you are not permitted to practice the law while you're incarcerated in our institution.
Dudas versus Ross Correctional Institution is an open and shut case.
The panel, in fact, found you guilty of all the charges. The panel believes that you did have
The sentence, 10 days in the hole.
Do you have an inmate handbook? Did you get it? You should have had an inmate handbook when you got the RCI. Since you're illegal,
I didn't read it.
You have the inmate handbook for RCI.
That's it here.
You just read. You
While you're
just keep the
sitting
parts
here,
in.
while you're sitting here in isolation,
Read it.
Start to read that.
You never see me again.
All right.
Have a good day.
All right.
Being a thorn in the side of the system is pleasurable to me. I'm probably going to do other RID bits in the hole for doing legal work because I will not stop helping people. It's my way to get back at the system. It's my way of saying, you know what, screw you. You guys did this to me, I don't belong in here, so I'm gonna help everybody I can to get home.
Prison is all about rules. Rules that govern daily life. Rules that keep the peace. Rules that are regularly broken by inmates pushing the limits of the system.
Certain people was addicted to buying and using drugs, and certain people was addicted to the money that's coming from the drugs, you feel what I'm saying? And me, that's one of my addictions. I'm addicted to being the one to supply the drugs.
Justin Davis now has a 6-month sentence for possession and drug smuggling. 6 months until he's back in general population once again.
Rehabilitation don't come from being locked up. It comes from yourself. Either you're gonna want to change or you ain't gonna want to change, you feel me? I'm not about to sit here and be beating myself up feeling guilty, because if I wouldn't got caught, I would have been a hero, you feel me?
For attacking an officer, Buster Johnson faces formal assault charges that could lead to more time. Time he won't be spending at Ross. Johnson is a security risk here, and the rules require the administration transfer him to a maximum facility known as Lucasville.
Right now, back to Lucasville. This is where it's real at. I mean, it's a real joint. It ain't no kiddie camp no more.
Behind bars, every crime has a reason. And it turns out a tougher prison is just what the old school inmate wanted.
I'm going to a real camp where it's men, you know what I mean? He's doing time again. Back at home. He's 71257 Johnson.
The way that I do my time is this. I don't mess with people, right? So I don't expect to be messed with. If someone steps up to the plate, I'm swinging for a home run, right? Flat out. I'm trying to kill him.
Nathaniel Blacker's history of violence is catching up with him. Today, he's headed to court to face criminal charges for stabbing another inmate 3 years ago. Charges that could add years onto his sentence.
I'm scared. Honestly, I'm scared to go back into society. And here, everything's given to you. You know, food, clothing, everything. There, it's, you gotta fend for yourself, man, and I don't know how to do that. There's no kind of programs out there to help me. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna have to go out there and try to do this on my own. That really scares me.
It may be the beginning of the end for the Army of One. Another step deeper into the world of prison. A world that is becoming the only one he might ever know.